we were talking about the assertion made after that mass shooting in Madison, Wisconsin, by a congressman who said that the leading cause of death for children is gun violence. I mention that because there's a story in Breitbart. This happened yesterday. 10 people wounded when multiple gunmen opened fire outside a New York City nightclub. Happened around 1:15 p.m. last night. The Associated Press reported approximately 15 people, ages 16 to 20, were standing outside the Amazura nightclub when armed men approached and began shooting. A private event was being hosted at the time of the shooting. Gunmen ran to a getaway car after firing approximately 30 rounds into the crowd. New York Post said there were 4 gunmen, and the wounded consisted of 4 males and 6 females. All shooting victims are expected to survive. Now, this private event at the club was reportedly held, according to AM New York, quote, in honor of a known gang member in the community slain last October, whose birthday coincided with New Year's Day, close quote. So these were people ages 16 to 20. Don't know whether or not they were affiliated with gang members, but this was an event held in honor of a known gang member. Don't know the ages of the assailants, but as I pointed out, many of these people that are killed are called children, 16, 17, 18, 19. Many of them were gang members, and some of whom, if they committed a crime, would be tried as adults. But the media refer to them as children to add up the number of children that are killed by gun violence. When in fact, if you look at what people consider to be a child, somebody 10 and under or 12 and under, more people in that demographic die from swimming pool drownings, house fires, traffic accidents. The governor of New York is claiming that the subways are now safer. This is right around the time a woman was burned alive. By the way, her name has now been identified as Debrina Karam. She once worked for Merck in the early 2000s, but more recently lived in a New York City homeless shelter. And a man was pushed in front of an oncoming train, and gangs of illegal immigrants have been robbing people on the subway. A man survived after being shoved in front of a train, and the people robbing the strap hangers, the people on the subway, are said to be Venezuelan gang members. About the woman who was set on fire, a Guatemalan national in the country illegally named Sebastian Zapata was charged with murder. He told the NYPD that he indulges in alcohol and, quote, doesn't know what happened, close quote. After Trump's election, some members of the media have taken a good hard look at how biased they've been. It seems like it's happening at CBS maybe more than the others. This is Joan Crawford, number 11.
It really started and took off in the wake of the Dobbs decision. The court's ruling that overturned Roe versus Wade. The outrage over that decision was so extreme that you saw, I think, a quite calculated effort to undermine the legitimacy of the Supreme Court by Democrats, Senate Democrats, for example, hearings, stories about scandals, some of which were pretty overblown, to say the least. So that has an impact on public opinion. You know, the public starts to believe that this court is corrupt, that this is, it's on the take, none of which is true. I mean, this is still a court. You may disagree with their decisions. It's a very conservative court. It is not a corrupt court. These are 9 justices who have very different views on how to interpret the Constitution, who are kind of in this titanic struggle over law, not politics. Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported to say that the court was going to save Trump from a criminal trial. No, it wasn't. That was never the decision. In fact, that decision is going to help protect Joe Biden from any future prosecution by Donald Trump if he wanted to do that. So, when we look at public opinion polls, sure, the court's taken a hit, but that's true over the years. The court often takes a hit, so do other institutions. And the court's opinion, court's public opinion remains much higher than our other institutions, including the White House, Congress, and, by far, the news media.
My goodness, sounds like something you hear on Fox News or Newsmax. Remember what Chuck Schumer said? Number 27?
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
And now you have a reporter over at CBS saying there's been a calculated effort by Democrats to undermine the credibility of the Supreme Court. Why? Because they don't like the rulings. She said it went into hyperdrive after the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. Now all of a sudden the court can't be trusted. Now all of a sudden the court is corrupt. Clarence Thomas should recuse himself because, after all, he's on the take. Justice Alito should recuse himself. He's on the take. All because they don't like their decisions. And by the way, Donald Trump may get another Supreme Court appointment. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.